Some legends die, some survive, but a few are waiting to be found again. The old Crowhurst orphanage had been abandoned for nearly 40 years. Locals swore they heard children laughing inside, even though every window was shattered and every door chained shut. It was a place wrapped in ghost stories, a scar on the town's memory. When filmmaker Maya Trent received a tip about strange activity inside, she knew she had to investigate. She thought it would be the perfect subject for her upcoming documentary on haunted places, gathering her small crew: Lucas, the sound guy, Jenna, the researcher, and Malik, her second camera operator. She arrived just before sunset, hoping to capture the building in that perfect, eerie twilight. The moment they stepped through the decaying doorway, the air grew heavy, almost suffocating. The walls were covered with peeling wallpaper decorated with hand-drawn cartoon rabbits. But each one had been violently scratched out with sharp, angry marks. And there, in the center of the main hallway, sitting silently on a dusty rocking chair, was a small doll. It had big, black eyes that seemed to absorb the fading light, long cracked horns that curled back from its head, and a stitched smile carved far too deep into its face. Labubu. Jenna laughed nervously, trying to break the tension. That thing is disgusting. Maya, however, was thrilled. She pointed her camera at it. Cursed objects make the best episodes, but as she zoomed in for a close-up, the unthinkable happened. The doll blinked. Just once. They all froze. A collective silent gasp hung in the air. Lucas muttered, his voice barely a whisper. No way. The doll didn't move again, but the rocking chair it sat on kept swaying back and forth, steady, rhythmic creak in the dead-still air. There was no wind. Unsettled but determined, the crew set up their gear in the main hall. They placed the doll near their lights for some dramatic close-up shots, treating it like the star of their show. A little while later, Malik, who was scrolling through the footage, called out, "Guys, come look at this." He pointed to the monitor. In every frame, Labubu's head was turned slightly more toward the camera than it had been before. Angle by angle, shot by shot, it was as if it was posing for them. Maya laughed it off, her professionalism overriding her fear.
Good.
That's creepy. We'll use it. But her bravado was about to shatter. Later that night, as they reviewed more clips, something else appeared. A hand, small and child-sized, reaching out from beneath Labubu and gripping the dusty floorboards. Lucas ripped his headphones off, his face pale. There are no kids here. No one is here. Maya zoomed in on the footage, her heart pounding. The hand was gone. But something else was now visible, scrawled into the thick dust on the floor. 2 words. Play with me. Before anyone could react, Jenna shrieked as the light suddenly blew out, plunging the entire hall into absolute blackness. In that suffocating darkness, they heard a sound. Something crawling, slow, deliberate. Its nails scraping against the old wood. After fumbling to fix a battery-powered lantern, they followed the horrifying sound down the hallway to a small trapdoor they hadn't noticed before, leading to the basement. The smell hit them first. A thick, cloying mixture of rotting wood, fungus, and something metallic like old blood. The lantern beam cut through the darkness, revealing dozens of drawings pinned to the damp wall. They were crude, childish scribbles of a creature with horns and a stitched smile. And below the drawings, children's names were listed, each one crossed out, one by one. Except for the last name, it wasn't crossed out. Maya. Her breath hitched in her throat. That's impossible. How did? But before she could finish her sentence, a voice whispered directly behind her. It was high and childlike. Welcome back. Maya spun around, the lantern shaking violently in her hand. The doll Labubu was sitting at her feet. She hadn't brought it down with her. The basement door slammed shut above them, the sound echoing like a gunshot. The lantern flickered violently, casting long, dancing shadows across the room. Jenna screamed as shadowy figures began to appear at the edges of the room's small silhouettes, their heads twitching in an unnatural, jerky rhythm. Lucas backed away, his voice trembling. Those are kids, but they weren't. Their bodies were stiff, moving like puppets pulled by invisible strings. Their eyes were hollow pits, and their mouths were crudely sewn shut. and then Labubu climbed onto an old, decrepit desk, its stitched grin widening impossibly. The floorboards beneath it began to crack and splinter, as if something massive was rising from below. A deep, wet, cracking sound echoed through the basement as a tall, skeletal creature emerged from the shadows. It wore scraps of children's clothing, its limbs bent the wrong way, its spine horribly exposed. Labubu perched on its shoulder like a twisted commander, surveying its new playthings. The puppet children rushed forward, their movements a horrific, stuttering shamble. Malik was grabbed first, was dragged into the darkness, his screams cut brutally short. Jenna tried to run, but invisible hands pulled her back, stitching her mouth shut with threads made of pure shadow. Her muffled, terrified cries echoed through the basement. In a desperate act, Lucas swung a broken pipe, managing to strike Labubu. But the moment he made contact, his own arm snapped in half with a sickening crunch, bone bursting through the skin. The stitched bond. Maya realized it then, far too late. Whatever happened to the doll happened to them. Alone, shaking, Maya crawled toward the stairs, a desperate, futile attempt to escape. But Labubu dropped from the ceiling, landing right in front of her, its black eyes now pulsing with a malevolent red light. "You filmed us," it hissed, its voice a chorus of ghostly whispers. "Now, we'll film you." Long black threads shot from its mouth, wrapping around Maya's neck and lifting her slowly into the air. The basement camera, one of their own, flickered on by itself, its red recording light a single demonic eye in the darkness. It was recording everything. The last thing it captured was Maya's face being stitched into a permanent, gruesome smile while she thrashed helplessly, blood dripping, bones cracking, her eyes slowly dimming into nothingness. The screen went to static. Some stories should never be recorded, some memories should never be kept, and some dolls should never be found.